I'm going to draw in where I think the wound will be. I'm going to come back, waver my hand a little bit, a little piece of meat fall out of the cut. This is such a simple technique and easy to do, and it has such a high value. As soon as you do the cut, as soon as you know where the wound is, you can come in, take your black sponge, burnish, take down the edges a little bit. When I first got into the business, I would sculpt these wounds that were so ornate, and the skin would be flipping out and doing all kinds of waves and just ridiculous stuff. It was me trying too hard. When the skin is offended and a wound happens, the body wants to preserve itself, and it's immediately going to go and start healing itself. What that means is that the edges of the wound are going to start rounding in, and healing is going to begin. It's only in the very freshest moments of a wound where you're going to see things that are flipped out and edges that are torn out and what have you. So that's why I go ahead right out at the onset and I go ahead and burnish. Let me add another little wound in here. We'll have a little, maybe this was some kind of Freddy Krueger knives or something, who knows. Okay, so there we have some wounds. Go ahead and burnish those. Now, you take my favorite tool, take the round end. This is so simple. I want you to go around and satellite, travel in the same direction as the wound goes, and cut in. Every once in a while, discontinue it, pick it up again, have a little bit of a tremor in your hand. Don't make this too mechanical. Now on the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and run parallel to the wound. And again. Awesome. Take the same tool, go back up top. Here I am going to burnish for control. I need to go ahead and make that level by going into the trench and pulling out away from the wound. Then move to the bottom, go into the trench that I just created and pull out. Once again, the same. The same here. Now I'm going to go towards the wound. Go back down into the trench. I'll go to the top. And now I'm going towards the wound. As I do this, you're going to see a subtle, light shadow form around the wound. That shadow speaks of swelling. I was able just to do this in a matter of moments. What you're seeing there is you're seeing the skin start to pucker in response to being ripped open. This is a minor thing, but it's such a wonderful thing because now you have this great storytelling going on around the wound. Then go to my sponge, burnish in a circle. What did we really get there? What we really got is we got this subtle, beautiful shadow. See that? Awesome. I can come back in and I can go to certain areas where I want a little bit more swelling and I can push it in and deepen it. Here's an opportunity over here. I'm going to go ahead and make it a little deeper there. Over here, I can make it a little deeper. Burnish that out as we had done just before. Same here. Awesome. Cool. Great. Now, this debris in here, this little island of flesh, I'm going to go ahead, cut that into little subdivisions, and that's going to become fat that is falling out of the wound. Nope. Go in, dig that around. I'm allowing my tool to really get in there and cause a deeper shadow because I want to sell the depth of the wound. Awesome. Remember I mentioned the stone skipping across the water? As I leave the wound, I'm going to come out, do a little extra bump, and a bump, and a bump, and I'm out. I've decided that here is the impact. So now here's a really interesting, gosh, this takes no effort at all, but it gives you so much. I'm going to take a little piece of clay, I'm going to bend it into a little horseshoe, a little U shape. I'm going to lay that right there at the end of the wound. I'm going to mash it down with my finger. This is not too dissimilar to the tear duct that we did on the face just a moment ago. I'm going to use the fat pad of my thumb to go ahead and give that a beautiful, nice roundness. And then I'm going to take another tool, which would be this, and I'm going to marry this in to the wound. Open that up a little bit. Open that up a little bit. So, it's getting grosser and grosser. So here was the impact point. Whatever caused this wound, this is where it landed. Boom, ripped through the skin, traveled out, bump, bounced, 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 and out. Love it. And I can open this up a little bit more. Since that was our initial trauma, I'm going to give that a little bit more to do. Neat. And I'll come back once again, burnish and round, and let that take care of some of the things that my thumb didn't. Awesome. I mentioned dressing up your things just to make an impression, even if it's a subliminal impression on your audience or whoever your client is. I can come in with my rubber tip tool, calm down some of those little islands of flesh down in the wound. And then in this case, I could take a little bit of, no product placement here, a little bit of MAC lip gloss. Put that on a brush. Feed it down into the wound and have a little bit of gloss, which is awesome because you're speaking of the wetness down in the wound. Pretty neat. I'm going to stop talking for a moment. I'm just going to go ahead in a very quick form. I'm going to go back and do the same on these smaller wounds just to give you an example. Now, I can't do these wounds for you and not give you an example of stitches, because this is also how you set up, or this is also your setup for doing stitches. Now the fat swelling around the wound, that's very informative. And we're going to use that same technique to push the reality of stitches in the skin. I'm going to go ahead, finish this one off for you, and then we'll jump right into that. Once again, burnishing away from the wound at first, and then same up top, and then burnishing finally towards the wound, giving you that same incredible little shadow that speaks of the skin being offended, torn. Wonderful. Now I can once again jump out and jump right to my sponge because I've got enough of what I need there, and it'll take it the rest of the way. And as I use that sponge, guys, look at the shadow jump right up. Bam. Awesome. Awesome. Now, just because I want to, I'm going to tear this up a little bit. I'm going to allow myself to have total indulgence here and just rip into it. I've decided that these little guys are more vile and more like ripping the skin. Okay.